Okay, what we're going to walk through is the wrong screen here. What we're going to walk through is the process of managing a user and setting up an account for a user and managing the business listing for a user and putting it through the system so that the billing is done in the right way, so that that listing is part of the system that it's going to keep track of when that listing was created, who's the owner of that listing, when does the listing expire. It also is the key that gives them the ability to log in and make edits and changes. Ultimately, you want to get the site so that people can log into it, just like they log into Facebook and they make updates there, so that they can update those things on their own. We still expect, though, that the salesperson is going to do a lot of editing on their own, so you as an administrator can always edit everything. But to some extent, you want to try and encourage people to use that access and have that access so they can fish for themselves. They can do on their own. So what we're going to take a look at is a listing, and we're not going to dive deep into the details, but we'll kind of touch bullet points, and then we can do further videos with more details on each of the different parts and use those for other training. But to begin with, I am taking a look at the main listing section on the website, and I can see the full list. From here, I could go searching for a listing. I could go down to the detail of that listing to see what is being displayed on that listing based on the version or level that it's at. But most importantly, from here, I can edit a listing. I can delete a listing, which we don't encourage people to delete the listings if they can. They should instead deactivate them or make them unapproved. At that point, it's visible to you as an administrator, but it's no longer visible to the public. That's kind of better than deleting a listing. That way, if they want to turn it on later, or if you need to make it inactive to work on it and then make it active again later, you kind of have those options straight from here without having to go any deeper. But coming to the front end or the public side of the website is a perfectly fine way to get to listings and make edits to them. But myself, as an administrator, I would much rather go to the Business Directory Manager page, because that Manager page at a glance lets you see a lot more and do a lot more, including creating a brand new listing. So we're going to head over to the Site Management section, and we're going to go to a few different spots. Number one, we're going to go to the Business Directory Manager, and we're going to talk about making edits there. We're going to talk about the Customers section, and we're going to talk about you creating a user so that you can have an owner for a listing so that they can make edits and changes. And we'll talk about that process of you creating a user, creating a listing, and putting it into the system for billing in the right way. So heading over to the Business Directory Manager.
Okay, Ryan, can you
yes.
Allow me in? I should be not in there because you took covert control over the meeting, so I can't see your screen. All right, cool. Thank you.
Are others able to see the screen? I should have started with that first. Dana, you're able to see the screen okay? Ben?
Yes,
Okay, just making sure. So in the main Business Directory Manager, this main screen is kind of your dashboard that lets you see everything. It automatically brings up to the top of the list any listings which are expired, which right now are the majority of the listings, because we had taken and made for a window of time most of them premium so that they would show up as top-level premium listings, and you could see the difference between a free listing and the minimal information it shows, and a premium paid listing where it shows you everything that is available about that listing. But because these are all now expired, they expired in the beginning of the year, they show up with a red notice and they show up at the top of the list. So this type of thing sorts them so that you see the listings that need attention. The ones that are expired or expiring soon, they float up to the very, very top. From here, you're able to come in and work on these listings. That includes being able to expand and collapse and see some more information about those listings if there is more information entered in for them. You can also do some of those same things you could do on the outside, including making them active or not. Yes, all of these listings are active at the moment. I can sort by things so that I can come in and say, I want to sort by whether they're active or not, inactive to the top of the screen if I wanted to, or sort them by their paid purchase level. I can also sort them by the date they were updated. That way, the ones you've been working on most recently, you could make those sort to the top of the list. There are a few tricks here about working with these and making them, be more or do more than, make this section more useful for you. We'll spend more time showing you how to use these things down the road. But coming in and editing one is still, something that's part of a larger training session, but I at least want to stop off on the screen and point out a couple of things. When you're working on a listing manually, if you want to make that listing be a paid listing, maybe it was a free listing to start off with and you're bumping it up to be a paid listing. Maybe it's a listing that you've just clicked create on. You've made it for a church and it's a free listing, but you want to give them a premium one. The main details about a listing are all at the top of the list, so that you can go in and see the information about what categories they are, what information they have, their preferences for things. But at the very, very bottom is a section in yellow. And that section in yellow only shows up to you as an administrator. If they log in as their own user, they don't see this section. And this section is where you can mark the type and the level that someone is. And those types and levels correspond to the paid plans that there are, so that you can have things that are showing all of the features and all of the benefits versus ones that are free. So you can come down and you can take a paid one, and if they cancel it and you want to just manually move it down to a free account, you can also do that here. You can connect up who the salespersons are for the listing, so that you can see your own list. When you log in as yourself, you see your list of business listings that are ones that you sold. If the person buys it themselves, they have an ability to pull down this this drop down and select that Dana is the one who sold them the account. And if so, then it automatically goes into your list and then it shows up in your review. So they can choose that, and you can choose it after the fact as well. You're not doing it this way, Ben, but we have the system set up so that others can have commissions running out of the system so that it keeps track of all the people who signed up under which salespeople, and it can pull quarterly commissions for them. And it's tied to this particular part. The other part that's important to know about having a paid listing be recorded as the right setup is that it has to have an expiration date. There's an overall start and an end date to when the listing is going to be visible to the public, but there's a premium start date and a premium expiration date for when it is in that state. So even if it starts off as being premium and gold here through this start and end date, what happens after this date is that it basically goes down one level to be a standard listing. So it won't show all of the things that they had in their listing. It'll just show the basic contact info. So anybody who ever purchases a premium plan, when it expires, it automatically goes down to one step up from free, basically. So it's important that you know that, and if you are doing people manually by hand, Dana, then the way to bump them up and down is to work on these dates and to work on their levels. These are automatically plugged in when people purchase it themselves, but this is the way you control it manually from here. You also have a couple of spots in here too where you can put in some internal notes and internal information about the listings. So this is your spot to write in reminders to yourself about the people or their renewal or things they wanted you to do, or what have you. So there's lots more to editing listings, but that's the important part to start off with about saying that you've created a listing or you're managing or editing one that existed already. Here's how you come in and make it a paid level and get it to the right expiration dates. Now notice this has nothing to do with payment yet and putting in that they have paid anything, because that's just managing the listing. And you can keep managing the listings directly if you want to. It doesn't, there's nothing in the system that forces you to have to go through the payment system. However, if you do go through the payment system, then all these other things are in place automatically. The person is listed as an owner. They get email reminders when the renewal is coming up. If it can do it through a credit card, if it was done that way, then it will try to automatically renew that credit card purchase. And that's kind of what I'll show you next is some of that setup and the way that works. Any questions before I leave the manager or the editor screens? No. Nope. Okay. There's lots more to the training of managing listings, but we're gonna kind of skip on. We're gonna head over to the customers and talk about managing users and creating users. One of the things you'll see here is that all of these listings have no owners. They have no users that are set up as people who can log in and edit these listings. Ideally, when there are users connected to these listings, and if you need to, you can go in and click this button and say John Doe can edit the Wise staffing group, and maybe there are a couple of listings of Wise. Then John Doe might be set up for the multiple different listings. That's great. Then anytime John Doe logs in, he can edit the title or put up a new picture or change the paragraph or what have you, instead of you being the only person to have to do that. But creating a user, if you are going to create users, you certainly can. You basically come in to manage users. And you can see all the people who were set up inside of the system. At the moment, we have mainly real estate people and managers set up inside of the system. There are no public customer user type people yet. If you want to create one, you certainly can. You can come in and just click the button to create a new user. I believe that we have a section of, no, it's not in the quick links. The main way to do it then is down here to the bottom where you come in to say manage users and you're going to create a new system user, or you can click the button and it'll go directly there to create a new user for a person. When you create that new user, you have only a few fields that are required. There's lots more that you can learn about a person, and they can fill out more information when they're logging in. But for you, the main things you need to know are their first name, last name, and email address. Title is required right now, but we can make that not. And then you can put in the type of role or type of person that they are. You really only need to put in these if they are any one of these special roles. Anyone who doesn't get a special role is going to be a standard user. They don't get editing rights. They don't get any other kind of special rights until you give them a listing that they're the owner of. So when you create a user, if they're an owner, fine, you just create a user and you're done. But if they're an advertiser, you can put them in as an advertiser, and that gives them some special abilities as advertisers to manage their advertisements and to put up some stuff for those. Otherwise, you have your own business directory sales associates, which right now is Dana, and then site administrator, which right now is Dana and Ben. So you don't have anyone else other than those as those types of roles. When you enter them in, you need to put in a username and then a password for them. The password needs to be a somewhat secure password because there are credit card and store-related things here inside the site. So creating a user, you should try and make a good password. So inside of the system, when you are looking at it as an administrator, you can come in and look at the billing review. The billing review lets you see all of the orders that have come in and what money has come in for those orders. So, Ben, this is the section that's going to let you know when you look at it, what's been processed in the last month, how much money is coming in, what renewals are up ahead. That's all inside of this billing records section. And ourselves, myself, Ryan, and Dustin, as we were doing this testing in the past, we signed ourselves up as users for multiple types of accounts. This is a new listing. This is a new listing. This one is cheaper. I'll bet this one is an email. Yes, this is an email with first name and last name. We created and we signed up for these things in 2017, and they've already come around to their renewal dates. Now, we created them as testing users with testing credit cards in place, but they've gone through. I've been receiving, not recently, but this year I have been receiving these emails that tell me, hey, your renewal is coming up. Please log into the website if you wish to modify or discontinue. Otherwise, you'll automatically be charged on 6/22/18. And so then 6/22/18 comes, and then I receive an email that says your email subscription has been auto-renewed. Please log into your account if you have any questions. So the system works. It has done a good job with that process. but this is where you go if you need to create some records or to process records that have come in and see what people have purchased, what people have purchased what things. If I was you, Dana, and I was entering a brand new person that I wanted to come in to the system as a proper user, as someone who's coming in and they're giving you a credit card, and you're like, oh, hey, I want to take your credit card. Let me go in and process it. The way I would do it is I would start off by creating an account for them and going through the normal store checkout process, because it's that normal store checkout process that's going to get them into the right place inside of the site. So if we say, I've come to the website, I'm not logged in as a user, and I say I want to list my business. Here I can choose what level of listing I want to purchase, and let's say that I want to purchase a $350 a year account. At this point, it takes us to the store system, where you can come in and say, okay, I'm ready to check out through the store system. And you can say that you want to have this be billed annually, or you can have this be billed monthly. There are also some add-ons, so that you could also say that you want to have a custom domain name with it, and there's an extra add-on cost for that. But let's just say I'm going through for a normal annual listing. I add that to my cart, just like you're checking out with any other type of service or process. You go through and it will give you the cost here. Now, coupons is something that I can describe to you later, and if you wanted to, you could give people discounts for signing themselves up, and you could make, for instance, business cards with QR codes on them and hand them out to people, and they scan them, and they are brought automatically to the cart with a code in it for discounts, all kinds of fancy advertising ideas. But anyways, you complete this process by going through and creating an account. There you could create it for John Doe with John Doe's email address and John Doe's information, and you're entering it just like you would a normal, a credit card process, and you check out. Once a user has gone through this process and they log in with their user account, and I'm going to wrap this up in like 6 more minutes, once they check out, and we might have disabled checkout here since it wasn't being used currently, we'll have to re-enable it. But once they check out, they are given a thank you page and they're sent a confirmation email. So that could be how you send the people a receipt for their purchase, by creating an account for them and going through this process like normal. Once a person has come to the site and they've logged in, they are taken to their home page, and I was here just a few minutes ago. Let me
ask you this.
Here we go. Yes, please.
That I'm going to select from. When I go in to do all this, will that, if I put their email address in, will that send them a receipt or not?
Yes. If you're checking out of the store system, it sends them a receipt. I could probably spend a moment looking through my email and find you what one of those receipts looks like. But it can email them a receipt and information about how they can log into their account so that they can then look at the information online. So it's kind of like a shoehorn to get them into the site, to get them to start participating. When someone who's a customer logs into the website, this is their My Account page. This is their home page. And there's some things about their My Account page when they log in that show them. Here, it shows me, because I've been doing so much testing, all the notices that say, I had a purchase that was canceled, or I had a purchase that was declined, or I have a purchase that is still pending. So these notifications show up here based on what happened in the order system. But otherwise, if they don't have any problems with orders, this is the top of the screen for them. It says Manage Your Listings. And here it shows all the listings that they own so that they can come in and finish them up. They're encouraged, and they can say, hey, here's my new listing as of May 6, 2018, as of March 22, 2018. It was last updated never. It's pending approval. So even though somebody's purchased a listing and they start filling out information, you two have to approve it before it shows up on the public. Because what if somebody wants to put a bad stuff, you kind of want to stop them from doing that. And whenever one is close to approval, you're able to see the ones that are close to approval, and you can approve them. But it does show this user that right now, even though they've paid for it and have started it, it's pending approval and it's not active currently. They can click here to go to the directory listing. They can see the information, but they can also edit it and start working on it. You can also see, and it looks like my account doesn't have it right now, but these are listings that I've already started. But if I have credits for listings, it'll also show me all of those in this location too. If I have advertisements, it'll show me all the advertisements. If I have email accounts, it'll show me all the email accounts. And they're encouraged, hey, you want to advertise with us? Okay, click here. You can go ahead and purchase an advertisement and start the process of that too. So once somebody is started on one thing, it cross-promotes all the other things to them when they come to this page. On the right-hand side are help information, where there is a description of the phone numbers and help information that you can help provide to people. There are some FAQ questions that can be filled out over time with even more FAQs. And if you as an administrator want to create some FAQs, you can just click here to create a new FAQ question. But the other thing that we've built into the system is a chat service, so that when customers are in here on this page, it says many questions can be answered over chat and email responses. Let us know if we can help. So they're encouraged, and this chat bot here is something that you can have, Dana, on your iPhone. It's an app, and whenever a customer has a question, they type it in, and it goes ding on your phone. It opens up and says, John Doe has a question about his listing. He says, you know, I can't upload a picture. Can you help me? Or he says, hey, I want to get another listing. Can you give me a call? You know, because it basically makes a chat system. All you have to do is install the app on your phone, and if someone types in here, then that question comes to you immediately, just like it was a text message. So that system is in place. We can turn it off if you don't feel like using it, but it's an immediate connection with the people who've paid for listings, and it's a great way for you to be able to respond without them having your email, without them having your phone number. It's just a text service, and so you run the app. Say again?
What app is that?
This app is called Intercom, and Becky can get you the information for that. It's connected to your Intercom account, so we can get you the logins for it. It's free at a certain level, and it's paid at another certain level. But at the level that it's at right now, it should be easy for you to use. And if you want to try out for a little while, we can test it out together with some of our testing users with you.
Can you send in the information on that?
Yes, Becky can get that over to you. So, you know, if a user has an account that's gone through the right process, then when they log in, they can see these things to come in and log in and edit. Now, at the end of the day, though, if you want to create accounts and create payments and log things into the system yourself directly, then what we need to do is get you connected to the store system. This screen in front of you is the store system, where you can see all of the different products. The products are your business listings and your advertising levels and your email accounts. Those are the things that are for sale. But they're not the only things. Later on down the road, Ben, if you wanted to get into selling Hopkinsville T-shirts and hats and you know, posters and whatever else you want to sell, the store system's made to sell anything. You can even get third-party drop ship vendors to have things so that you're not doing any fulfillment, and when an order comes in, it goes directly to them. So the store system behind this is pretty robust. It doesn't just do online subscription things. But if Dana wanted to record an order directly, one that came in as cash or one that came in as a credit card that she needs to process, and for some reason she doesn't want to go through and create a user for the person and do that kind of impersonate step of creating a user and then running it through that side of the process, you can do it manually here. This is the equivalent of coming to the back end of the store system into your credit card processor and creating an order. So what you're able to do is come in and say add new when you come to sales orders, and here you could enter a cash order or a credit, like a swap, or a credit card. So that you come in and you're creating an order from scratch here. So we're saying, okay, I'm putting in an order that is complete, and the payment is going to be marked as paid, and there's no shipping. If you want to connect it to a user, you can put in their username here. That would mean you've already created a user first. If you need to put in billing information, you're able to put in billing information. Otherwise, you come over to the payment screen and you are able to enter in and put in the payments and run through creating this order, kind of like you're in the credit card system in the back end, and you are entering in their credit card information and putting it in for processing. The main thing that we need to do, though, is mark what they are purchasing or what they're having. So there's a little bit more to the detail of this that we can run through in another training session and get you some good details on it. But this is the way that if you were going to manually enter that check that you pick up, or cash that people give you, or credit cards, you manually do them here.
Hey, Ryan.
How did you get to this page? Where do I go to get to this page? I lost that.
For right now, I just typed in store. I don't have it in as a link inside of that side menu, but we certainly can make it here. Preferably, we want people to do things in the other direction. But if you're going to be manually entering things in, we can make a menu item to this, but it's just /store.
But I do have some customers that won't do that. They'll want me to do that.
Yeah, they'll want you to do that, and then at that point, we want you to put them into the store system versus just making a listing that's not connected to anything. So, doing that here would be best, and what we can do is get you a link in the normal manager here so that you have store in this list of menu items. But so the process would be then you're creating a record, and you can tie it to a user if you want to, or if they're never going to log in, you don't have to tie it to a user, but you can at least get them into the store system so they have that listing for renewal, and then go about creating their ad or their listing or their email or what have you.
Dana, do you have any other questions so far? Are you following along with everything? Do you have any questions on how you would get somebody set up and get their credit card information in and update their listing?
Right. Well, Becky, I haven't shown them how to put the credit card information in yet. That's right. Still an even more long training session that we need to run through the steps. Maybe we make a Word document and give her the step-by-step for it, and then can do a separate video for that too.
Okay.
Sounds good.
But I'll go ahead and pause this recording because this is the end of kind of a good intro. We ran through running through if users are doing it themselves, if they've done it, for you editing them and managing them, and then we've kind of finished here with the store part, and we can get into more details on that afterwards.
All right. Before